Okay, this is session 3 on lesson 26. Okay, which is page 561. Okay, it says Brian reads the lengths of his earthworms. Sorry, Brian records the lengths of his earthworms in the table below. Okay, this is draw a line plot using Brian's measurement data. Okay, so what that means is we're going to take his data and make a plot line. Okay. We're going to look at all his fractions and find out which one's the smallest one. Which one's the smallest one?
1 1/4.
Yeah, 1 1/4. So I'm going to start with 1 1/4. Okay. And then 1 1/2. And then 1 3/4, because 1 1/2 is actually 1 2/4. So then I'm going to go 1 3/4. And then 2. And then what? Do I have 2 1/4? No, but I have 2 1/2. And then finally, I believe I have 2 3/4. Okay. So then from here, how many 1 1/4 does he have? How many? I only see 1 right here. I only see 1. So how many x's is going to go above that? 1. How many 1 1/2s?
2.
See, G and A. So how many x's is going to be above that?
2.
2 of them, look. Right above each other like that. How many 1 3/4?
2.
2? Here's 1 3/4. Is there another one?
No.
No, this one's 2 3/4. And that's not it. Only 1. How many 2s does he have?
1.
Just 1. How many 2 1/2s? He has this one here and this one. So he has 2 of them. And then how many 2 3/4? He only has 1. So then we're going to use this to answer our questions that we have next to it on the next page. Okay, there it says you can use a number line to help you begin to draw the line plot, which we did. Okay. And let's see what we did on your paper, on your book. Do you have 1x above 1/4?
Yes.
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 Do you have 2 x's above 1 1/2?
Yes.
Do you have 1x above 3/4?
Yes.
Do you have 1x above 2/4? 2. Yes. Do we have 2 x's above 2 1/2?
Yes.
And then 1x above 2 3/4?
Yes.
Yeah. So we did that right. Okay. Now we're gonna do a number line. Okay. And the number line is 0 to 3. But each section is how much? 1/4, right? So it's going to start right like this. So if I start at 0, what's the first line? 1/4. And then 2/4. then 3/4. So now I have 1, then the next one is going to be 1 and 1/4. So 1 and 1/4, then it's going to be 1 and 2/4, and then 1 and 3/4, and then it's 2. Then what comes next? 2 and 1/4, yes. Then what comes after that? 2 and 2/4. What comes after that? Say it louder.
2 and 3/4.
2 and 3/4. So when we look at Brian's data, he had 1 and 1/4, right? Whoops. He had 1 and 1/4. Okay. 2, 1.5, which is 1 and 2/4. Okay. He had 1 that was 1 and 3/4, right? He had 1 that was just 2. And then he had 1 that was 2.5. Yes? 2.5, right here. And then he had 1 that was 2 and 3/4. No. He had 2 of them that was 2.5, and then 1 that was 2 and 3/4, like that. Okay? How many worms did Brian measure? How would I find that out? Count it all what? All the X's. So how many are there?
8.
8. So he measured 8 worms. Okay? There will be an X. There will be an X on the plot line for each worm. Yes. If 2 or more earthworms are the same length, the X's will be drawn one above each other, just like this. Right? Okay. So how many X's will be on the plot line? So how many X's are there? How many X's altogether? 8. Because that's the number of earthworms he measured, right? Okay. And now I'm gonna have to move this up a little bit. Okay. So look at your. I'll just keep this up. Okay. It says, where are we at? Oh, 4. How many worms are 1/4? How many worms are 1/4? How many worms are 1/4? 1. So draw that many X's above 1/4. So we drew 1, right? 1X. Okay. So how many worms are 1.5? Which is, it's not up here, but 1.5 is equal to 1 and 2/4, right? Which is this. Right here. This is going to be 1 and 1/2, like that. Okay. This is going to be 2.5, like that. Okay. This right here will be a half. Okay. So again, how many are 1.5? 2 of them. Okay, so draw any X's above that, which we did. Okay, 2 goes right here. Remember, as I'm writing, you're writing. Complete the plot line, which we did. Make sure you draw an X for each earthworm measured, which we did. Explain what each X on the line plot stands for. So each X that we have up here represents what? One what? One earthworm. Right? So if I have other line plots, that X is going to represent something else, depending on what it is. I know that each X represents an earthworm because it's here's my title. Here's my title right here. Okay. Okay, it says complete the line plot of the ribbon lengths data. Start by choosing this scale. Okay. And labeling the scale numbers. Give the line plot a title. So, what's the title that I can use? It tells you right there. Ribbon lengths. Ribbon lengths. Okay. That already started with 2. What do you think the next one's going to be? It's right. It's one of these, by the way. They already gave me 2. What do you think the next one's going to be?
2.5.
2.5. Yes. So I'm going to put 2.5. And then after that, I don't have 2 3/4. So what's next? 3.5. Yes. But do I have a 3 before that? Yes. I'm going to put 3 right here. Then what do you got, Jack? Then it's 3.5. So then after that, what do I have? I'm going to put 4. And then I'm going to go 4.5. Is that it? And I guess 5 right here then. Right? Because I don't see anything else. Okay, so we're good. Then it says draw a line plot of the data on the table. In the table. So, do we have any 2s? No. How many 2.5s do we have?
2.
How many 3s?
2.
Is that correct? Side by side? No. They have to be what? On top of each other. Okay. Any 3.5s? 1. Any 4s? No. Any 4.5s? How many? 1, 2, 3. Any 5s? No. That's it. Okay. And then it's the same thing for number 10. If I did number 10, now I'm going to go to a 1/4 and a 1/2. Okay. So what's the largest one that you see here? Which was the largest one? 6.5? 6 3/4. So I'm going to start off with that. Then I'm going to go with 6.5. And if that's 6, then this should be 5 3/4. And this should be 5.5. And this should be 6 in the middle. No. That doesn't make sense. So this should be 6.5, right? That should be 6, but I don't have 6. But I have 5 3/4. Sorry, I have 6 1/4. And I have 6s. Okay. I have 6 and I have 6 1/4. This would be 5, 6, 5 3/4, and 5.5. You have 5 1/4? No. I already aim it at 5.5. So then, how many are 6 3/4? Just one, right? How many are 6.5? How many?
3.
3? Yeah, 3. How many is 6.25?
1, 2.
F and A, 2. How many are 5.75? Just one?
2.
What letters?
C,
C and G are 5.25. So if I did it right, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, that was right. And we don't have any 5.5. Okay. So it looks like I think they started off with 5.75 like this. 5.75. Then it was 6, 6.5. That's a 2. No, wait, not 6.5. 6, 6.25, then 6.5, then 6.75, like that. That's how it was. Okay, so then 6.75, just 1, 6.5, 2, 3, 6.25, 1, 2, no 6s, and 1, 2 for 5.75. Okay. Complete the line plot for the flower stamps lengths data. Okay. By choosing a scale and labeling the scale numbers and giving the plot line a title. So what do you think our title is going to be? What? Flower stamps. Okay. And it's in inches. And I'm going to start with 6. What's going to come next? Yep, 6.5. What comes next after that? 7. I'm just going by half. 7. And then? 7.5. And then? 8. And then what do I do now? Depending on how many of each one we have, right? Okay, so how many 6s do we have? 6. Just the whole number, 6. 1. So only one flower stem was 6 inches. How many 6.5s? 2. How many 7s? Okay. How many 8s? 7.5, sorry. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. And then how many 8s? 1. And that's it. That's all it said, right? Nothing else. It didn't ask you any questions or anything like that.